Good morning, everyone. Now the next topic, that is functional block diagram of a computer. As in the previous session, I have told you about the operations which are used in case of functional block diagram. So all the 5 operations I have discussed in the previous session. Now come to the topic, that is functional block diagram of a computer. As you people know that number of units are there in terms of functional block diagram, or in the basic organization of a computer. So one by one we will discuss all the number of units which comes under it. So let us understand the topic, that is the basic organization or the functional block diagram of a computer. As with the help of this diagram, you can check that number of units are there, and the basic organizations of a computer system says that it works upon the input unit, then processing, and then output. So basically, in terms of input unit, number of input devices comes, like keyboard is there, mouse, microphone, mic. Number of input units are there which are used for taking the raw data. And in terms of processing unit, so number of things are there, like number of processes are there. Like if we are talking about the storage unit, then we have the two type of storage, the primary storage and secondary storage. So this thing we will discuss in today's session. Then after that, control unit is also there. So now the question arises, like what do you mean by this control unit? Then after that, the next unit is there, that is arithmetic and logic unit. So basically, why we use this arithmetic and logic unit under the term of CPU, so, or you can say under the processing unit. So this thing I'll tell you in today's session, so that will be discussed later. First of all, you just understand the basic organization, that it works upon the input unit. Then after that, the processing unit is there. Then after that, you display that output, which is known as the processed information. That means with the help of output unit, you just display that particular information, and which is also known as the result also. So just come to the first unit, that is the input unit. So this is the first unit of computer in case of block diagram. So that is the input unit. So we can say that basically the computers need to receive the data and instruction in order to solve any of the problem, because you generally say that computer is used to solve any specific task. So for solving that particular task, what we need number of data and number of instructions for solving that particular data. So therefore we need to input the data and instructions into the computer. So for that purpose, number of input devices are used to feed the data into the computer system. So that is basically known as the input unit. That means what we can say, that this is the basic process of entering the data and programs into the computer system, and that is why number of input devices are used. And the most commonly used input device is what? That is keyboard. That is the most commonly used device. And as we know that in case of this input unit, the raw data is being taken by this device, and the number of input devices which are used to capture the data, so that is keyboard, mouse, scanner, microphone. So these all are the number of input devices which we generally used to give the input or to feed the data into the computer system. So the main process or the main function of input unit is to accept the data and instructions from the outside world, means with the help of the user. Then after that, it convert into a form that the computer can understand, because we are giving input to the computer in a form of like image, in a form of numbers, in a form of character. But computer doesn't understand that language, or that means first of all the data is being converted into the machine language which the computer can understand. So then only the data has gone, and then only the data is going for the processing purpose. That means, so this topic we will discuss in the later session, like how the computer converts the numbers into the machine language or into the binary numbers. So that is one topic in under this subject. So we will discuss it in brief, because number of conversions are there in your syllabus. So I'll tell you how the how the computer system change that data or change the numbers into the binary language. But this, you just remember that this is one of the basic function of input unit. Then after that this converted data is supplied to the computer system for further processing purpose. So this is basically the main functions of input unit. Then after that the next unit under the block diagram of computer, that is a storage unit. So what is basically the work of this storage unit? As if we talk about the storage unit, then we can say that a storage unit of computer holds the data and instructions that are entered through the input devices before they are processed. So it preserves, basically the storage unit preserves the intermediate as well as the final results before these are sent to the output devices. So this is being done with the help of a storage unit. That means, in terms of a storage unit, the main role of CPU comes, because CPU is called the brain of a computer, and this is one electronic circuitry that carries out the instructions given by a computer program. And CPU can be subclassified into three parts. So what are these three parts? The first one is control unit. Then after that, arithmetic and logic unit. That means this ALU is divided into two parts, that is the arithmetic unit and the logic unit. So this point should be noted. Then after that, the next unit, that is memory unit. Now what do you mean by the control unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and then after that the memory unit? So I'll tell you one by one. The first type of storage unit is basically storage units is divided into two terms, that is primary storage and secondary storage. So basically, whenever you will check the image or the block diagram of a computer system, with the help of image you can check that there were two storage, or basically there are two type of storage in terms of a storage unit. The first one is primary storage and the another one is secondary storage. So in terms of primary storage, the concept of RAM comes, because if we talk about the primary storage, then we can say that this memory is generally used to hold the data which is being executed currently within the computer. Means the data or the process which is currently is being executed, so that is in the main memory, that remains in the main memory. That means the primary memory is temporary in nature, and the data is lost when the computer is switched off. So we can say that in order to store the data permanently, the data has to be transferred to the secondary memory. So then only the concept of secondary memory or the secondary storage comes. So in terms of primary storage, we can also say that it is very fast in nature and it is a very fast memory, and this memory is generally used to hold the program which is being currently executed in the computer. So in terms of the primary storage, the concept of RAM comes. RAM stands for random access memory. So we can also say that the cost of primary storage is more in comparison to the secondary storage. Therefore, most of the computers have limited primary storage capacity. So this was all about the primary storage. Then after that, the next type of storage, that is the secondary storage. So secondary storage means the primary storage is not able to store the data permanently for the future use. So other type of secondary storage is required to save that result. So then the concept of secondary storage comes. So secondary storage is used like an archive, means it stores several programs, several documents, databases, files, folders into the secondary storage devices like in hard disk, in CD, in DVD. So these all are basically the secondary storage devices. That means the programs that you run onto the computer are first of all transferred to the primary memory before it is actually runs. Then whenever the results are saved, then again they get stored into the secondary memory. Means once the process is being is being executed, then it is in the main memory, then it remains into the primary storage or the primary memory. But whenever we want to save it permanently, then only the concept of secondary memory came. So hope it is clear to everyone. Now if we talk about the secondary memory, then we can say that it is slower and cheaper than the primary memory. Primary memory is very fast in nature. So I'll tell you in detail in term whenever we will learn the concept, that is the memory of computer. But still you should know that the speed of the primary memory is faster than the secondary, any type of secondary, in comparison to any type of secondary memory. And that is why the secondary memory is cheaper. And so secondary memory is cheaper than the primary memory. And some of the commonly used secondary memory devices are hard disk, CD, DVD, etc. So these all are the secondary memory. Then after that, the next type of unit in terms of the storage unit, so or in terms of processing unit, because under CPU we have different things, like storage unit was one of the unit. Then after that control unit was there. Then after that arithmetic and logic unit is also there. So the next topic or the next subtopic under the block diagram is like arithmetic and logic unit. Now what do you mean by arithmetic unit? As I have told you earlier, that the arithmetic unit, once the data has been taken with the help of input unit, then after that it has gone for processing. So the arithmetic unit is used to perform the simple arithmetic operation, like if you want to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, then it comes to the arithmetic unit. And when you want to perform the logical operations, like if you want to compare the if you want to perform comparing operations, comparison operation, then less than, equals to, or greater than, then we generally use the concept of logic unit. So the arithmetic and logic unit is being used for performing the number of arithmetic or logical operations. Then after that, the next type of unit, that is the memory unit. So memory unit is generally used to store the data and instructions before and after processing. So we can say that memory is also called primary memory or the internal memory, and it is used to store the data temporarily or permanently. So this is basically the storage part, and you can say that under the storage unit we have the concept of this memory unit also. So after that, the next term, that is the control unit. So under this control unit, basically this control unit of a CPU controls the entire operation of a computer. It also controls all the devices, such as it controls the memory, input devices, output devices. So these all are controlled with the help of this control unit. So as I've told you that it controls all the other units in the computer, and the basic thing, like the transmission is being done with the help of control unit. Means the control unit instructs the input unit like where to store the data, and after receiving it from the user, So this is the first thing which the control unit perform. Then after that, it controls the flow of data and instructions from the storage unit to the arithmetic and logic unit. Then after that, it also controls the flow of results from the ALU to the storage unit. And the control unit is generally referred as the central nervous system. So this point is important, that the control unit works like the central nervous system of the computer that control and synchronizes its working. So control unit plays one important role within the computer system, because all the transmission is being done with the help of control unit. So this is one of the most important unit within the computer system. So now the last unit in terms of block diagram or the basic organization of computer system, so that is output unit. So why we use output unit? So basically, first of all, we take the input from the user, then after that it has gone for the processing. Then for generating the processed data, or for generating the results, for displaying the results, for displaying the information, we generally used the output devices, just like the monitor, printer. So we can use a speaker. So these all are the output devices, and these are used to display the results or the output. So this is basically the process of producing the result from the data for getting the useful information. And similarly, the output produced by the computer after processing must also be kept somewhere inside the computer before being given to you in human readable form. So that is being done with the help of secondary storage devices. Then again, the output is also stored inside the computer for further processing. So for that purpose, number of output units are used, number of output devices are used. So hope you have understood like what is the basic organization of a computer, and number of units are used, and number of the concepts are there in terms of the block diagram of a computer. So hope you have understood all the topics which comes under this block diagram. So thank you everyone, thank you so much.